Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Reactor, and this is Quinn, and today's article comes from ScienceAlert.com, and it says, because of anti-vaxxers, 37 people in Europe have died of measles this year. So, off the bat, like, what I'm wondering is, how is this the cause of anti-vaxxers? Aren't anti-vaxxers the only ones who can get measles? Or is it, like, because they're not vaccinated, now even the vaccinations don't work?
I don't know.
I really think that
37 people does not sound like a terrible amount of people. 37, not that many.
Yeah, it's not. And I imagine these are all people who decided not to get the vaccine, which was their God-given right.
Right. 37 people just didn't want to be stabbed with a needle.
Mm-hmm. And how many people weren't vaccinated that are doing fine? You know, they can only spread measles to their closed group of anti-vaxxers.
Right.
You know, unless some people aren't vaccinated against their will. Like, they want to be vaccinated, but they can't get vaccinated, so now these anti-vaxxers are ruining it for them.
I'm not even really sure what measles is. I know it was a problem a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like...
But...
Yeah, I think it's like chickenpox, kind of, right?
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, an outbreak of measles is rampaging across Europe, taking a huge toll. Huge. 37 people is a huge toll. Wow. Somebody save them. In the first 6 months of 2018, there were 41,000 recorded cases of easily preventable viral infection. Oh, okay, they just didn't die. Yeah, I guess that is a lot, but if they don't want to get vaccinated, whatever. That 6-month period saw nearly double the highest number of cases in a year since 2010, which was 23,927, in the entire 12 months of 2017, and lost 37 lives to measles. And according to experts in the U.S., that's what America could be facing too if parents don't vaccinate their children.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all kids have to get vaccinated.
To go to school.
Right.
Yeah. That 6-month period saw nearly double the highest number of cases in a year since 2010. Which, I read that already. We have a very serious situation. Pediatric doctor Alberto Villani of Bambino Gesù Pediatric Hospital and the president of the Italian Pediatric Society in Italy told NBC. People are dying from measles. That was unbelievable 5 or 10 years ago. And yes, unequivocally, the reason for the severity of the outbreak is the fall in vaccination rates. In order to prevent outbreaks, at least 95% of the population needs to be vaccinated with 2 doses of the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine. In some parts of Europe, according to the World Health Organization, vaccination coverage is at less than 70%. It's the main factor leading to the outbreaks. Anka Paduraru of the European Commission in Brussels told NBC, it's unacceptable to have, in the 21st century, diseases that should have been and could have been eradicated. Yeah. I think the whole anti-vaxxation thing is like, people don't realize it, but humans are guided by a natural force, you know? Whether we like it or not. Like, for example, the population is higher than ever, and humans aren't reproducing as fast. That's normal in any animal population. Overpopulation causes them to stop reproducing. So I imagine, this is just nature taking its course, getting people to not vaccinate.
Right.
Whether they know it or not, there is some sort of force driving them. Measles is already on the rise in the U.S. Last year saw Minnesota's worst outbreak in decades, and earlier this year there was an outbreak in New York City. There's an outbreak underway in Brooklyn right now, with 6 cases cropping up last week, all of them in unvaccinated children, 1 too young to have been vaccinated. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. Like, some people aren't able to be vaccinated yet.
Right. Some people just have a friend that's a doctor and may have them, give them a note that looks legit, and they didn't actually go to the doctor.
No. Well, I mean, like, a baby might not be able to be vaccinated.
Right.
So these anti-vaxxers might be spreading it to these babies. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be bad.
Last year, the U.S. Center for Disease Control studied the growing number of measles outbreaks in the U.S. and found that 70% of new cases occur in unvaccinated patients. Obviously, what? 70% of new cases. So 30% are from vaccinated people?
That's messed up.
So what's the point of these vaccinations in the first place? Why are you trying to sell it to me right now if you're telling me 30% of the people who are vaccinated are getting measles? What?
That's what it does sound like.
Yeah. As we reported then, the anti-vaccination movement has been growing in recent years, partially thanks to a dishonest and since retracted 1998 study by former physician Andrew Wakefield, who was struck off the UK medical register for misconduct. Wakefield's study used deliberately falsified results to make the fraudulent claim that there was a link between MMR vaccine and autism, possibly to eliminate a rival for the alternative measles vaccine he had patented. Huh. What? Alternative measles vaccine?
That's messed up that he would do that.
If that's even what he did, we don't really
Right.
know. Although subsequent research has found that there is absolutely no link between vaccines and autism, never mind a casual one, many still believe it and refuse to vaccinate their children, including the MMR vaccine. Measles has been eliminated from the U.S., that is, no new cases originate within the country, but outbreaks occur when it is imported from outside. The New York City outbreak was caused by a tourist, and the current Brooklyn outbreak was the result of an unvaccinated child traveling to an area in Israel currently undergoing a measles outbreak of its own. Oh, and it's a thing where once a year people travel to Israel or something, or to the Middle East for some religious purpose, and everyone gets sick. Like this is normal every year. I think we recently talked about it.
Really?
Yeah, a while ago. What has been happening in Europe is now happening in the U.S. on a smaller scale at this point, said Peter Hotz, director of the Texas Children's Hospital Center for Vaccine Development at Baylor College of Medicine. But it could get a lot worse if something isn't done. A 2014 paper found that the efforts to correct misinformation were woefully inadequate compared to the concerted effort put in by anti-vaccination campaigners who use the internet to spread their anti-science message. The message is a lot more dangerous than you might think at first. If just 5% of a community refuses to vaccinate, that can have a disproportionate effect on public health, tripling the annual measles rates. This in turn doesn't affect only the patients, but has an impact on the entire community, increasing hospital load and costing a conservative estimate of $21 million for the public health sector. Measles is also insanely infectious and potentially deadly, particularly for small children. In 2016, there were 89,780 measles deaths globally, most of them in children under the age of 5. And in the decade prior to the introduction of the MMR vaccine in 1963, there were between 300 and 700 deaths reported annually in the U.S. due to measles. Wow. Sure seems like there's
lot.
Annually 300 to 700 deaths?
There was.
Yeah, before the vaccine. And now it's at 90,000? How are you trying to convince me that actually, this data right here...
Well, that was just in the decade, the one decade before that.
And this is in 2016. There were 90,000 deaths.
Well, I mean, there was a lot less people then.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, but still, this is a decade. Divide that by 10, so you can see what a year on average was, which is 30 to 70 deaths in a year in the U.S. And, this is globally. I get that, okay.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, man.
Still, it is a low amount of deaths. I get what you're saying.
Before the vaccine.
Right.
So, I'm pretty much an anti-vaxxer now.
I haven't had any vaccines for a long time since I had to go to...
The military used to force me to get them, but
school.
I haven't really cared for them much since then. If I die, I die. I won't care.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder about the tetanus shot, because sometimes I wonder if that one actually is probably a beneficial one to get, because all the rusty, sharp pieces of metal, it seems like it'd probably be a good one to have.
Just always wear shoes and you won't need a tetanus shot, maybe.
That's a good point.
Don't play with rusty stuff.
That is another good point, though.
People don't see them, and so they forget about them or think that the diseases don't exist anymore, said Professor of Medicine Jeffrey D. Klausner of the University of California, Davis. They don't realize their children are at risk for measles, meningitis, encephalitis, and permanent brain damage.
Damn.
Is that the end? If your dog eats grass, do this every day. What? Shut up. Anyway, okay, back to the... So, yeah, vaccinations are horrible. Since their inception... global deaths have increased by 10,000, 100,000%. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get one. They seem real bad.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And maybe because these people think that, I'm vaccinated, but 30% of the vaccinated people get the measles. What is that? This does sound ridiculous.
Believing that you're okay is part of the process. You have to think you're getting better, or else you may not.
Maybe it's a placebo vaccine. All vaccines are placebos. Convince people that you're cured or you can't get it and you won't. Although you could go play in some disease garbage pile because you think, that's the problem. People who are vaccinated thinking that they can swim in garbage.
Yeah, that could be.
And that could be causing a lot of problems too. So we should stop vaccinating people. If we stop vaccinating people,
See what happens for a couple weeks.
if we get rid of vaccines, there won't be anti-vaxxers. You know, that's one way to get rid of them. Yeah,
The
anyway.
strongest, healthiest people would only survive, and that's kind of not the point of existence.
That kind of is the point of existence.
Oh,
Yeah.
that changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is it called? It's not really euthanasia. You're not really killing the weak, but you're letting the weak die. I don't know. I'm a supporter of that. Let the weak die, you know? Like, here's the thing. Like, say you have an aquarium full of flies, right? The way evolution works is if one of the flies is born without wings, it's screwed. It shouldn't be able to survive in nature. But because we're taking care of them, we start feeding these mutated flies. And soon, they keep reproducing with no wings, so now we have to take care of them for the rest of their existence. Same thing works with humans. You know, you keep taking care of people, they keep reproducing, you know, people with genetic diseases and all kinds of messed up stuff about their genetics, you know? You keep saving them so they can reproduce, then you just keep... It's a form of evolution, but it's not a progressive evolution. It's like a backwards... You're there's no such thing as evolving backwards, you know, but you can evolve negatively.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
Soon we have these people who can't even move their arms and they're just lying there, fat blobs on the ground. They have to be taken care of, you know?
Sounds...
And it would be inhumane to let them die. We have to keep taking care of them. And then they end up getting married to another blob and, you know, their beds get pushed together so that they can be closer because they can't get out of their bed. They can barely do anything on their own, you know? It's insane.
It's a tragic outcome to certain situations.
Sort of like idiocracy. Like, humanity is doomed if we keep, what's the word, like, nurturing these diseases, you know? That's kind of what we're doing. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. It sucks to get a disease, and sure, I could get a disease too, but I would feel the same way. If I have a genetic disease, I wouldn't want to reproduce and pass it on to another person. My child would be born with the same genetic disease as me. That, you know, if it's a livable disease, that's different. You know, I'm just saying. And I'm not saying to kill people who are diseased. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying naturally, when people with diseases reproduce and keep getting taken care of by the capable, it could negatively impact population. I don't know. That's all I want to say. You have anything?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that's it for the video. People, you need to stop getting vaccinated. It sounds real dangerous, and it doesn't even seem to do anything for 30% of the people who get it. So
Scary.
yeah. Plus, you can get autism or something it said in the article. That's it for the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments what you thought, and check out our Patreon link in the description if you want to help us, because that would be really cool. And thanks for watching.